Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, when you thought it was over, just when you thought it was over, somebody just came in and just handed you a cup of rock. Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, didn't they say Ebola only lasted for 3 weeks, 21 days? We told you no. Didn't they say Ebola could not be airborne? The scientists in Canada told you that ain't true. They said at the most Ebola would last for 49 days. Says it could stay in a man's semen for up to 49 days, 7 weeks. That's a lie. In an article published by Tia Goose from Science Health magazine, she writes, Ebola may linger in a man's semen for more, not less, not up to, but more than 2 years. Ebola. Wait a minute. Hold on. Because y'all don't hear me though. We got to go here. I'm tethering, and I want to thank all of you. This number right here just keeps climbing, and I'm not focusing on it anymore. I'm just appreciative that some of you appreciate the work. Now, look, I did the video, How to Become Internet Famous, at a series, and 25 of you didn't like it, and 40 of you, so we got haters in the mix. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care about the haters, because 25 out of 79, that percentage right there doesn't kill me. I'm all right. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I took you guys here is because we needed to go here. I'm looking for the video, not the latest, the secrets you must know before it's too late. No, not that one. Nope. Where is the information that I keep telling y'all they don't want y'all to know and I'm not supposed to be sharing with y'all? I just saw it. Let's go backwards a little bit more. Maybe it was way early. No. Nope. Nope. Nope, it ain't all the way back to an alternative way. Give me a second. We gotta pull that up. Give me a second. Got a list of all the videos I put up. I was just looking at the title just a second ago. Come on. The reason why I'm showing you this is because I want all of you to go back to that video and take another look and pay attention to what's being said. We keep talking to you about the X-Files. They put this stuff in the X-Files. They did it on purpose. Purpose. Let's see. It's the one where it says they really believe this shiznick. How come I don't see it? Hold on. Nope. No, that's the truth mixed with lies. Majority. No. No. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't see it. And we were just talking, I know it's up there because a gentleman and I were just talking about it last night. The video telling you all what's about to happen. And I just don't see it. Maybe you guys see it. This is not it. This is the video where I'm clowning fools for putting junk up there, talking about people need to know this stuff before. Oh, what in the world is about to happen? That video right there. That video is alluding to... Alluding? He said alluding as if somebody's trying to get away. Oh, Lord. April 1st, 2017. Let's pay attention to the article, and we're going to go over most of the article. My screen is a little frozen because I got that Windows program in the background. I have the article. I was pulling up the Windows program because I copied and pasted the article. But as you see, we're having a little problem with Let's see if we can move that over. No, it won't let me move it over, but it says Ebola may linger in a man's semen for more than 2 years. A new study suggests. Now, here's the problem. You guys need to pay attention. Let's show you how the new study was conducted. What more? At least one man. They said at least one man. Please understand, they're doing that to try to not scare people. You're going to see the number is overwhelming. See, I just showed you 25 out of 79 people. Well, 79 individuals who took the time to click on the stupid button. I don't care about the ratings, people. I'm not trying to make this channel one of those channels where everybody and their grandmama come to, because that ain't about to happen. And because I'm straightforward, I tell you people like a TIZ, some of you guys can't handle that. So if you've listened to my videos, many of you, yes, I'm taking a little break from what we're talking about just for a moment to explain something. Many of you don't belong here. Many of you can't handle the way the videos are done. The videos are being done the way they're being done for a reason. To get rid of those of you who can't think for yourselves. Those of you who don't know how to focus and concentrate. Well, the music in the background is too loud and I just can't get past the music. It's just too confusing. It's just too distracting. People, if you can't learn to tune things out, you will never get none of this. Because you're not mentally ready for it. See, the problem is the music playing in the background, I'm barely even paying attention to it. The music is not getting on my last nerve, not getting on my first nerve. Why? Because it allows me to focus. So if you can't handle it, I've been doing it all my life. Get over it. Let's continue to read, shall we? It says, what more is, at least one man who survived Ebola and then tested negative for the presence of the virus in his semen later tested positive, a new study found. That's right, it can lay dormant in a man. Now, if it's in his semen, where does semen get produced at? Don't say the scrotum sac, because that's not where it's produced. It's through the blood system, people. But let's pay attention. The findings raise questions about how long Ebola can linger in a special immune hideouts in the body. However, the new findings only show some men carry RNA or genetic material for Ebola long after recovering from the disease. They don't necessarily mean that all men who test positive for Ebola RNA are still capable of transmitting the virus. People, do you see that cautionary tale right there? That's a lie. That's why I'm letting you know, before it happened, I knew. Before it happened, I knew. July 2013. I can't go into detail about all the details that I knew about this, but what I can tell you is before this study came out, you already saw me putting up videos telling you that they're lying, that it can stay in a man's semen longer than that, and that they have a triggering agent, and that they were allowing people to get on planes and transmitting this stuff all over the world. They're saying it stays in a man's semen, but we haven't discussed the other places where it's staying. If it's in the semen, it has to be someplace else in the body as well. Let me say this again. If it's in the semen, it has to be someplace else in the body as well. Okay? Sorry. I have to tell that person I'll call him back. I redid my phone, so that's that music from the so-called genetic free music ringtone. I'll get back to my All Saints girls in a moment. Ebola virus is a rare and deadly virus, rare, anyway, that starts with common flu-like symptoms such as fever, muscle and joint pain, and headaches, according to the study. Oh, I must have Ebola because I have a fever, and I have muscle and joint pain, and I also have a headache. Oh, Lord. Anyway, as the virus progresses, however, people suffer from, extreme diarrhea and vomiting. And in the late stages of the disease, people's blood vessels may become leaky. Leaky? Excuse me? How does your blood vessels leak? Is that like having a fuel leak? I apologize. Causing bleeding from the rectum. Oh God, that's nasty. nose, and mouth. Why'd they start with rectum? Why didn't they say mouth, nose, and rectum? Why did they say rectum first? Because it's all for, style and appeal. People infected with the virus can transmit it through bodily fluids such as blood, vomit, diarrhea, or semen, and are infectious only once they start showing symptoms of the disease. Ladies and gentlemen, they say that they can only be infectious once they start showing symptoms. I want you all to pay attention. A man was cured of Ebola in 2015, September 2015. You all read the story. His girlfriend died in March of 2016. You all know the story. He was said to be free of the disease. He had sex with his girlfriend. He was no longer infectious, and yet he transmitted the disease to his girlfriend, and she died. She didn't infect him. Sorry, I'm trying to fix that, but that ain't working. See? It just does it. And it's just that one little program, and I guess that's what I'm going to have to live with because I ain't getting rid of it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, infectious only when showing symptoms? How can a person be infectious when they show symptoms if it lays in the semen and it can be transmitted through bodily fluid? It's Ebola. It's a supposedly fluid-borne disease, according to them. But according to the scientists in Canada who did the study in 2012, they proved that Ebola is airborne. It's an airborne pathogen. I love science, people. I love science, especially quantum physics. But what I'm telling you right now, this is a lie. But this is just her story. It says there were nearly 30,000 cases of Ebola reported in Sierra Leone, Guyana, and Liberia, according to the World Health Organization. Yes, according to the World Health Organization, the United Nations. Let's go. Many of the people who survived the initial deadly phase of the disease may still face lingering problems such as headaches, vision problems, fatigue, joint and pain, hearing loss, and a 2015 study in New England Journal of Medicine found. Okay, forget New England Journal, but you can't get into the New England Journal unless you're really important. The finding that Ebola can linger in the semen even after a man recovers from the infection is not a surprise to researchers. Studies of men in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guyana after a 2014-2016 Ebola outbreak found that anywhere from 28% to 100% of men harbored the RNA or genetic material from the Ebola virus in their semen up to 3 months after the infection. But wait a minute, I want you all to pay attention. Look, it says the Ebola outbreak 2014 to 2016, up to 100% of the men had this genetic material or the Ebola virus in their semen. 3 months after infection. Pay attention. It says studies of men after 2016. That's a lie, gentlemen. That's a lie, ladies. Because if it's 2 to 3 months, then the studies would not have shown Ebola in their system. Do you understand? This is 2017 and we're August 2017. If it was true 2016, 3 to 4 months later, pay attention, then there would be no infection in 2017 because this is a year and a half later from the end of 2016. So from the beginning of 2016. From the end of 2016, this is 8 months later. So the 2 to 3 months, according to them, these studies that found that the semen may linger up to 3 months after the infection. Another study found that the minority, there's that word again, of men who contracted the virus tested positive for Ebola in their semen 7 to 9 months after recovering from the infection. In 2015, scientists reported that a man who had recovered from the disease 6 months earlier transmitted Ebola to his sexual partner. 2015, I told you she died in 2016. I haven't read this article, but I told you we all know about that. 6 months after he was said to have been cured, he transmitted the virus to his girlfriend. But again, he wasn't infected anymore. He was cured. He waited the incubation period time. They've been lying to you all. This is not to scare anybody. This is just to let you know that most of us have probably had some contact with somebody who has had this so-called virus, or some other virus that they have spread around the world, that they will just issue or spread something in jet fuel, gasoline, diesel fuel, a trigger that will set it on fire. And that way everybody gets sick all over the world and people start dying. When it starts happening, I'm only letting you know that it's going to happen because this is what they've been planning for. All of the movies talk about it. All of your zombie movies talking about a deadly virus wiping out the world. How many of those have we seen lately? Like I said, just go back and look at the last. It's the remake of the X-Files. You know, it's a revamping of 2016. There are only 10 episodes. The last 3 episodes focus on a deadly virus. And guess who sponsors the virus? It's not terrorism. It's not them terrorists, them Al-Qaedas. Ladies and gentlemen, why are they talking about Afghanistan? They just got on the news on Fox News. I'm sorry, I hate Fox News, but it's the only news that I get here. But Fox News said that Afghanistan, the Al-Qaedas, well, they didn't say that. They didn't say Al-Qaeda. They ain't talked about them Al-Qaedas no more. They talked about them Talibans, that they controlled only 10% of Afghanistan. 10%. 10%. And the Karzai or whoever running that regime now, they control 60%. And the other 30% is undecided. That's their figures. 10%. So why are they sending 4,000 more troops to Afghanistan if they only have to worry about 10%? That's not a majority. That's not a majority. 10% is not a majority. Ladies and gentlemen, they're getting ready to do something else stupid. They're talking about Afghanistan again. Why? Afghanistan's not the problem. I thought Syria was the problem. But now Syria is the problem. ISIS is the problem. But then international terrorism is the problem because they're running over people all over the world and they're stopping people all over the world. And again, they're getting ready to do something. And this time it's going to be a world event, not just a United States event. Let's continue with the article, please. The World Health Organization currently recommends that people who recover from the virus be tested for any lingering presence of Ebola RNA 3 months after recovery, and then again until they test negative on 2 consecutive monthly tests. If men have not been tested, they should abstain from sex for 12 months or use condoms every time they have sex, according to WHO guideline. Excuse me, who? Who are you talking about? I'm talking about who? 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 I'm talking about who? But who is who? Who? Yeah, one of those stories. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Condoms. Go ahead, take a balloon, blow it up, tie a knot at the end of it, and just let it sit. What happens to it after a couple of hours? Starts to deflate. After a couple of days, it really starts to deflate. A condom is nothing but a balloon. It has microscopic holes in it. Ebola is a microscopic disease. That's why people still get herpes, AIDS, gonorrhea, syphilis, even when they use condoms. And they still get pregnant, even when they use condoms, because we're dealing with microscopic organisms going through microscopic holes in a microscopic, for some people, condom. And nobody pays attention to it. Well, look, another study found that a man transmitting the virus to his partner more than 500 days after he began showing symptoms of the illness. 500 days. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 365 plus another 145. Do you understand? That's almost 2 years later. So since it was supposed to have ended in 2016, pay attention. Well into 2018, people are still going to be infecting each other, which means that we're going to be going into 2020, 2024, 2026, because the people who have not tested positive will be testing positive, and it will be spreading from them, and the virus will continue to mutate. Remember, it mutated over 27 times. Unknown persistence. But exactly how long does the virus linger in reservoirs in the body, and for how long it can be transmitted? We don't know these answers. They don't know these answers. That's why it took them this long to put this article out. Remember, they knew about this at the middle of 2016. They knew about this, and all of a sudden, we're just now finding out about it now. To answer the question, Dr. William Fisher II, a clinical care specialist at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and colleagues analyzed semen donated. You mean somebody donated semen and they took it? Oh, that's nasty. Oh, y'all just some nasty old dirty men. Anyway, by 149 men who had recovered from the virus up to almost 3 years earlier, they found that 13 of these men tested positive for the presence of Ebola RNA. In other words, that they still had Ebola. 3 years later, of these men, 11 of these men had recovered more than 2 years earlier. One of the 13 men tested positive for Ebola RNA after having tested negative on two prior occasions, so the two prior occasions doesn't work. Research reported July 22nd in the Journal of Open Forum Infection Diseases. The men who tested positive for Ebola virus in their semen were, on average, older than men who never tested positive. In addition, they were likelier to report the post-Ebola symptoms of vision problems and fatigue compared with men who tested negative, the study found. Oh, God. You notice how they're trying to make it sound better than what it is? The significance of the findings is still not clear. The researchers noted in the paper, while the persistence of the Ebola, EBOV virus, RNA in semen is concerning, it is not known if the detection of the Ebola RNA in genital fluids is a surrogate for the presence of infectious virus, the researchers wrote in the paper. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, they know this. They've been doing this testing for over 3 years. Of course they know this. But the prolonged presence of Ebola RNA in men should prompt organizations to rethink their sexual transmission prevention guidelines, and the researchers wrote. Further research should aim to eliminate Ebola that may be hiding in those reservoirs, the authors added. Excuse me. Let's cover the immune hideouts, please. And then I got to get off of this. I gotta go. So we're gonna put us on pause for a minute, okay? Then we're gonna finish this article. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a day ahead of time. That meeting is until tomorrow. So let's finish with this immune hideout. One possibility is that Ebola may hide in specific spots in the body that are somewhat protected from the immune system, such as the eyes or testes. Testes? Ooh, can I test these? Anyway, the researchers wrote, these privileged areas of the body are less prone to inflammatory attacks by the immune system when foreign substances are found. Excuse me? The fact that men who report vision issues after their recovery were likelier to harbor Ebola RNA seems to bolster this notion, the researchers wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, if it were true that it could hide in the recesses of the eyes or in the testes, okay, then guess what? They would have already confirmed that by now. They've had 3 years. They could have confirmed that in all the people who died. They could have run tests on their eyes to see if this was possible. But that hasn't happened, has it? Or has it? Let's continue. As people age, perhaps their immune system becomes less robust, the researchers suggest. Their weakened immune system may enable the Ebola virus to hide out in these certain immune privileged sites, such as the testes. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, let's be real here. If it were the case, Ebola has been around for over 60 years. Let's get real here. You mean in 60 years they haven't discovered this? Remember, the scientists literally leaked Ebola in the Washington area. Just go ahead and look up the research on that. They've been testing this. This disease is patented. Okay? And to let you know how this disease is patented, that will let you know, give you a hint as to who's controlling it. Okay? Let's continue. However, figuring out how to provide new information on how to prevent sexual transmission of Ebola without making things worse for Ebola survivors could prove tricky, researchers noted. Excuse me, why are you worried about making things worse for Ebola survivors? Shouldn't you not be worried about the people who may catch Ebola? F the Ebola survivors. But that's not what they're trying to say here, people. They're trying to come up with excuses. For many survivors, the physical manifestations of the disease have been compounded by the stigma encountered with their return to their communities. The researchers wrote in their paper, survivors' messaging regarding viral persistence, if demonstrated, must provide information that can be used to protect loved ones, but at the same time not risk further ostracizing by the society. Originally published in Live Science. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, go back and pay attention. Those of you who haven't seen all of my videos, you'll see that this is not the first video I've done on Ebola. And periodically, month after month, I go and I look for Ebola updates. Not outbreaks, updates. Okay? I'd already told you we knew that it could stay in a man's semen, according to scientists, for up to 49 days, 7 weeks. This is what scientists say they knew. But we knew that the man who gave Ebola to his girlfriend 6 months after he was said to have been cured, which means he held on to the Ebola virus for more than 6 months, which got rid of that notion that there's a 21-day incubation period. So all of these people who have been staying and lasting longer than 21 days and they've been releasing them back into the community, letting them get on airplanes. Do not fall for the stupidity, ladies and gentlemen. Do not believe for a second that you can only get this through semen. You see, the fact is, we don't hear nothing about them testing the women, do you? Do you hear that? Anybody paying attention? None of these reports show that they tested women. It only shows that they've tested men. And the only reason why they're finding the so-called RNA in men is because they're actually doing specific tests now. But I say to you, they already knew this. Again, we have the report from 2015-16 where it says that prior to that man being cured of Ebola, that it could last in a person's semen for up to 49 days. And I did a video telling all of you that they're saying 49 days. How in the world could they say 49 days and they're telling everybody else 3 weeks? How do you get from 3 weeks? Who came up with these arbitrary numbers? Because they're all arbitrary. 49 days, 3 weeks, 7 weeks. Look, listen to them. And then you see more than 2 years. We already know it's more than 2.5 years because the person who they found the Ebola in his semen, he still has it to this day. This is August 1st this article was done. Okay, there is no cure for the disease that we know of. But I can assure you they think they have a cure. But what they have not calculated is the fact that this virus, once they do release their triggering agent, and once it does hit the population the way it does, and once it mutates the way it's going to, that's all she wrote. Literally. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who care about what's really going on behind the scenes, stop focusing on that news junk. Stop focusing on people trying to take that situation in Charlottesville and say it was about race. None of that was about race. Those people were protesting the taking down of a stupid statue of some stupid general named Lee. Nobody was talking about race. Well, generally, he owned slaves and he was a racist. We have no idea whether he was a racist or not because none of us knew that idiot. But who cares if somebody's got a statue or not? Who cares? Well, taxpayers' dollars. Well, then if taxpayers' dollars paid for it, Why are you destroying it? Isn't that destruction of taxpayers' monies? You can't destroy taxpayers' monies. That's illegal. So they turned it around. Remember, that idiot got on national television, prime time, and said that it was the protesters' fault that those individuals got mowed over. That's right, you stupid protesters. If you hadn't been there in the middle of the street when he was driving 50 miles an hour, you wouldn't have got hit, and she wouldn't have died. Can you see how the mother took that offensively? Instead of blaming it on the guy who got behind the wheel of the car and leaving it at that and saying how horrible of an incident it was, he had to go and say, well, there's blame to be put on both sides. He had to make it lighter than light, and that didn't work on him, did it? So stop paying attention to that junk, ladies and gentlemen. Stop paying attention to they're sending new troops into Afghanistan. If they're sending new troops into Afghanistan, that means that there has been some monies allocated to the military that they're spending on something else. That there is some covert something else going on. And the only reason why Afghanistan is important is because it's right next to China. That's the only reason why Afghanistan is important. Right between China and Russia. Imagine that. That's the only reason why the United States has any interest in Afghanistan. It ain't because of no stupid oil. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if this was all about oil, since everybody claimed the Iraq war was about oil, if this was all about oil, then how come oil prices hasn't gone down? How come OPEC is still in control? If this is all about oil, they would have taken, the United Nations would have taken away control from OPEC. And they would have made it a competitive system where Venezuela could sell its oil to whomever they wanted, where Libya could sell its oil to whomever they wanted and trade their gold with whomever they wanted. But we see Muammar Gaddafi is not here anymore to talk about it, because that's what he said he was going to do. We see Hugo Chavez is not here anymore to talk about it, because we see that's what he wanted to do. People, you got to pay attention to what's really going on and stop listening to the news tell you what's going on, because they're lying to you. Again, as we end this video, pay attention. Ebola may linger in a man's semen for more than 2 years. Who would have thunk it? Thank you. May you all have a good day. May you all have a good life. And this video will be up later today, August 24, 2017. Take care of yourselves. I hope this information proves somewhat helpful. And like I say, I can't tell you, you'll have to go back and listen to the other video, because I can't tell you what you need to do to protect yourself to survive what's coming. I'm sorry, I'm prohibited from doing that. Because the information that I received, I'm not supposed to be telling you what I'm telling you. I can only tell you because they've been putting this stuff out in video and on movies, so I can highlight that. But in video and on movies, they didn't tell you how to survive it. They didn't tell you what you will have to change in your lifestyle habits, and sex ain't one of them. I mean, technically, you're definitely going to have to change that, because the disease will be transmittable between people and airborne. So how do you protect yourself? How do you build up your immune system? Because it's your immune system that protects you. Remember, Ebola attacks the immune system. Well, it hides from the immune system. Ebola attacks the immune system. It doesn't hide from it. No. Here they come. Here comes the immune camp. The immune soldiers. We gotta hide. Ebola attacks the immune system, ladies and gentlemen. They're terrorists on the body. They don't hide. They attack. Just keep that in mind. Have a good day, everyone.